Hey guys, welcome to the special marathon training series on the Mike White podcast. Clark and I are planning to run a marathon at the end of 2023, so we'll be getting together every week on the podcast, discussing how our training's going and what the path is moving forward. Hope y'all enjoy. Clark Blunt, how's it going?
Hey MJ, going great. How about you?
Awesome. So we are both on the road right now doing another road podcast. So hopefully the background noise isn't too bad, but we'll just keep going. What were your takeaways from this last week? So last week we took it a little easy, had 5 30-minute runs, and all at not really pushing yourself too hard, just kind of taking a recovery week from the week prior. So any takeaways?
This week was pretty nice. We're kind of starting to ramp up, so it was kind of nice to have kind of a down week. But I just made sure that I went out and had fun with it, and so that was nice. It was nice to have a week that I could just kind of go and just enjoy the runs instead of really being focused or too concerned about anything really. So it was a nice recovery week, and looking at what we've got ahead, I think it's probably a good thing to have.
Yeah, and it's balanced, right? Because the main thing is to not stop. So if it's so brutal or you dislike it so much that eventually you're just not going to do it. So there's a balance of pushing yourself, right? But not so much to where you overwork yourself, you injure yourself, you wear yourself out mentally or physically. So there's, I guess, for each person, they got to find that balance. But for me, it made it really easy because I was in San Clemente, California. Have you been there?
No way. Were you really?
Yeah, so I was running in San Clemente, and so it's like right on the very southernmost part of Orange County there, kind of south of Los Angeles. And so there's just like the beach and then cliffs and just waves, and it was beautiful. So that makes it easy for sure. But I was running with my uncle, and he runs at a faster pace than I normally do, so that was kind of tough. And the other thing is the path. So the beach path, it's not sand, but it's not like paved or anything, so it's kind of this kind of smooth rock. So the surface is a little uneven. You got to pay attention when you're running. And I found my feet were super sore after that. So I think it's a combination of the hills and then not running on like a level surface and having to use all those little muscles in my feet. And it's something that I'm used to just doing flat running on sidewalk. I was not accustomed to it all. So that was a good little change up.
Wow, it's interesting. I don't know if you knew this, but that's actually where I'm from there.
Yeah, you said you're from Orange County. I don't know what part, what city.
Yeah, well, I'm from Rancho Santa Margarita, but my parents lived in San Clemente up until last year. So that's interesting. We were probably running on the same trail. So yeah, that's a great trail. I used to run along the beach down there, and I'll tell you what, I think you hit the nail on its head. I remember I used to get done and my calves would be so sore, and it's just because it's such a different terrain and you're using different muscles. So good on you. That's fun. And it's good to have somebody that you're running with that might be a little bit faster pace and kind of testing you there. And I think this was a good week to do that on.
Oh yeah. And so if anyone goes to San Clemente, it's that path right up by the pier, the San Clemente Pier, and you can just go south and it goes a ways. If you go north, there's another path too, but you couldn't run on the beach because eventually you're going to be hitting some rocks and all that. But it's really pretty. I ran in Carlsbad too, which is a little further south, more in the San Diego area, which is awesome, but it was flat. So I really liked San Clemente and getting those hills in and changing up the training and keeping it interesting. So it was a fun week. But other than that, I don't really have any other takeaways, and I'm ready to hear what you got for our next week of training. You gave me
Uh,
the little screenshot, and it looks kind of brutal. I don't know if I'm ready, but go ahead.
yeah, I, I was gonna do a full hour today, but then I looked at the schedule for next week, and I figured it probably stuck to my 30 minutes. But I think you're
Smart.
right. So I'll quickly go over just kind of how we're gonna break it down for next week, and then we can kind of talk a little bit more about it if you've got any questions. But for Monday, we're going to be looking for 50 minutes. And remember how we used to do those strides? So we're going to have 4 by 20 second, just kind of up tempo strides, not really trying to do anything crazy, just really focus on kind of picking it up a little bit. On Tuesday, we're going to have a 45-minute run. So we'll just be right at that conversational pace again. And then Wednesday, we'll have a 60-minute run. But on this one, we're going to kind of try and focus on keeping our pace and our heart rate in control. So that one's going to be kind of a more focused one. So let's take it like one notch above just our conversational pace, and then Thursday back down to a 45-minute conversational pace. With Friday, we're going to mimic Monday, so for 50 minutes with 4 times 20-second strides. Saturday off, and then Sunday we've got a 70-minute with the last 10 minutes being up tempo. So we're not talking jumping into a tempo run, but picking up that last 10 minutes, go ahead and focus on really bringing it home.
And for the initial hour, would you say zone 2 conversational?
For Monday?
For Sunday and Monday, Friday, and Sunday, we have the 50, 50, and then 70. Or those
yeah.
conversational except for the last 10 minutes of the Sunday run?
Um,
Kind of push
I think
yourself a little bit.
Yeah, that's fair. I've always tried to make my long runs not necessarily super difficult, but I've usually tried to push those a little bit harder. But yeah, I think that's completely fair. Conversational pace with a real focus on that last 10 minutes would be a real good decision to do on Sunday.
Yeah, and now that we're getting up there in time, so we're running a lot more than we have been, and you're working a full-time job. What's your approach to balance your time and make sure you get your miles in?
Well, I have to do it in the morning, otherwise it doesn't happen.
Yeah.
So I think I know that work is going to be tough, and I'm always going to want to give it my all at work. And so that means that I have to, if I want to get my run in, I have to prioritize that in the morning so that I can ensure that I'm putting everything that I got into it. So I get that done in the morning, and then that way I can focus on the rest of the day.
So are you doing it in the dark and there in Baltimore?
Yeah. Oh, it's very dark. I generally go around this park in Baltimore, and so I keep it pretty controlled. And when I run out onto the streets, I've generally got street lights. So it's pretty dark out, but it's always fine.
Yeah, I never enjoyed, like, I always rather run in the daylight, but if you're running at night or early morning, those lights that they even sell them where you can just like clip them on, or you can have the headlamp, or have some sort of reflective gear. Or in the military we had our glow belts, we call them the little reflective belts. Any of that is good to have, because you can only trust people so much, other drivers and people drunk from the night before and all that kind of stuff. So I'm glad you're doing it safely.
Absolutely. And I used to, when I was in college, we were running out in more rural areas where they didn't necessarily have the street lights, or I'd be running through darker neighborhoods, and I would have one of those headlamps that I'd just have on my forehead, and those were fantastic. And so I think that's always a good option too.
Yeah, I like those a lot, and they're getting really good with like brightness and different options. And they were great on the submarine too, because they make them where they have red light too. So you can use it as a little night light that you can have at night, where the super white light is not great, like if you're trying to go to sleep. So we would always do the red light. So they're versatile. It's a good investment if you haven't gotten one of those headlamps. But just to recap our workout for this week. So Clark said we got Monday, we're going to do the 50-minute zone 2 run and 4 strides during that run in the middle, 20 seconds each. Tuesday, doing a 45-minute run. Wednesday, an hour run. Thursday, another 45-minute run. Friday, a 50-minute run with 4 20-second strides in the middle of that. And then Sunday, a 70-minute run with that last 10 minutes being up-tempo, so pushing yourself to finish off the week. You got anything else to add, Clark?
Nope, but this is going to be a tough one. This is really going to be our first real tough week, but I'm looking forward to it.
All right, guys. Well, get after it and have fun running. Thanks, Clark.
Thanks, MJ. See you.
Thank you for listening to the Mike White Podcast. Be sure to follow us on Instagram and TikTok at Mike White Pod, and subscribe to the YouTube channel. Y'all have a great day.